and welcome to the Total Soccer Show. My name is Daryl Grove. I'm joined by a man who's made a list. He's checked it twice. His name is Taylor Rockwell. Hello.
Hello. Is this 2 Santa-themed intros in a row?
It is.
All right.
is.
And I'm really not letting this one go.
I just found out. I won't share this outside of the show, but you are going to be dressing up as Santa this year, right?
I mean...
For some young people?
Yes, unless my nieces and nephews are listening, in which case, no. Santa will just be there on Christmas Eve.
Because he's real.
Of course.
But we genuinely have made a sort of list of holiday gifts. We'll be Santas giving them out to, I'm going to call them soccer personalities.
Sure.
Players and coaches.
It took me a while to write that description, actually. I was like, soccer folks, soccer people.
Yeah, because you want to encompass everybody.
I think I said the global soccer community is what we went with.
We should also address that this is our first ever sort of Facebook Live broadcast. This is essentially a live broadcast of the way we always record the podcast, except we can't stop and make any edits.
This is true.
No pressure, Taylor.
Yeah,
no pressure.
Not at all. He says, trying not to look at the camera.
So, but normally Facebook Live people do, like, they'll answer questions from the comments, all that sort of stuff. We plan to do that in 2018, but this is like a test run, right? This is if Santa's sleigh, before he goes out on the 25th, he probably takes it around the North Pole a few times to make sure it's working.
Sure.
To make sure his video feed works.
Still live, though, so it's a live test. But I think, and I also enjoyed that we didn't go the Bruce Arena route and have it project against just like a gray back wall as we lean in to try to read questions.
Just your giant head.
Yeah, we've tried to get a little...
I would definitely qualify us for the World Cup.
Yeah, I think so.
So shall we start with the giving of the gifts?
Sure.
Who's on your list and what they getting?
Do you want me to go first?
Yes, please.
I'll say Kevin De Bruyne is on my list.
All right.
And I'm giving Kevin De Bruyne just a cold towel. That's all.
Cold towel.
Because I found myself wondering last night, why does his face turn so pink? I have an answer.
Oh, you do?
Everydayhealth.com informs me that when you exercise, Daryl, capillaries in your face and throughout your body dilate and blood flows through them in an effort to move the heat your body is generating to the skin's surface where it can be radiated off. So he basically just has, like, extra good radiation, I guess.
But just think, all that heat is also radiating out of his feet and giving him incredible strikes like he did at the weekend.
This is true.
That might be the source of his power.
It's going to be a whole ordeal to get the cold towel onto the feet. So we're going to keep it on the face.
Or maybe it'll sort of increase his power because it will redirect it all down his body.
I like what you're
But
thinking.
he won't score any more headers.
He probably won't.
Or have any more smart runs.
But he will be... Like slightly colder, which I feel like enhances his decision making, and he's even better. So there you go. Kevin De Bruyne, cold towel.
I'm sure he thinks Manchester is plenty cold already.
And I feel like I've already cemented my status as the inferior Santa in that my first gift is a wet towel. Not great.
Is it wet?
Not great.
Is it wet in the wrapper?
It's cold. It's a cold wet towel.
All right, my first gift is for the aforementioned Bruce Arena. It's a full-length mirror because I want to subtly suggest a period of self-reflection for Mr. Bruce Arena.
I like that. I'm going to expand upon it and say that we've got to find the least flattering mirror possible, though, because even when faced with, say, a failure to qualify for the World Cup,
you got a funhouse mirror.
Well, just that, when he was on TV, he was still very there were lots of factors to play, and you could never, and it still wasn't really taking much blame.
And he didn't know what to do with his hands.
There's a lot of this situation. And
Power triangle? No, not working.
There's a lot of white knuckle gripping of his pen, I saw. But but with that in mind, if Bruce Arena with a flattering mirror is going to be yeah, I did do a good job. I want it to be an unflattering mirror, so he's got to really think about what he did.
What you got next? What's next on your list? This is going to be somewhat rapid fire.
Going off of that, hopefully people have seen the newest season of Curb Your Enthusiasm. But if
I have not.
Larry David...
Is this why you texted me a Curb photo earlier?
It is.
Okay.
It is, because in the show, not really a spoiler, but Larry David offends the Ayatollah who declares a fatwa on him. So he spends at least a couple episodes in a fatwa disguise with fake hat, fake glasses, I think fake mustache. And I want to give that same disguise to Josie Altidore and Michael Bradley. Because they did, even though they are the champions right now, they did spend most of the end of the season after the Trinidad game getting booed. And I don't want that to extend into their free time. I want them to be walk around, say, Atlanta and not get booed. So with the disguise,
the Larry
might
David
look
disguise.
a little bit suspicious, but we haven't really seen Michael Bradley with hair in a very long time, so I feel like people wouldn't really put it together.
It's an interesting gift.
Yeah.
Certainly an interesting gift. I've got a gift for Peter Bosz, former Borussia Dortmund coach. I'm going to get him a washing line to hang his clothes on, but it's going to be 20 feet high.
All right.
I'm going to install it for him, and when he goes out, he's going to afterwards call me and say, "Hey, Santa Daryl, I can't reach any of my clothes." And I'll say, "Yeah, Peter Bosz, sometimes lines are too high, and it's not helpful, is it?"
So Daryl warned me.
Happy lesson.
Daryl warned me that there were going to be puns, and I was really trying to figure out what it was going to be, and it still made me sad. I'm not going to lie.
Sad? I think that's a good gift.
So you're just reinforcing the idea that maybe he played a little bit too high of line, which he's probably already learned from getting fired.
I mean,
so you just really want to run that one home.
We got to teach that lesson. What else you got?
Well, speaking of lessons we've learned this year, I want to give Ederson, my first thought was I wanted to give him a shirt with Claudio Bravo's face on it and just a big red X through it because he has proven what you need to do to replace Claudio Bravo. But I felt like it would be more fitting, given some of the conversations we've had recently, if it was instead a series of delicate lines that perfectly framed Claudio Bravo's face. Because that's actually what Ederson does, right? He doesn't just hoof it long like an obvious big red X.
Yeah.
Like, he's got very delicate passes, very delicate lines he's creating. So I feel like that's what the shirt should represent. But it should still be in red around Claudio Bravo's face.
This is a very well thought out gift that I feel like he won't understand when he opens it.
That's probably true. And it has to be signed by Pep, just because, Pep gave the signature to allow the Ederson move to happen.
Oh, there's another Ederson gift later in the show, not from me, but from a TSS listener.
Oh, that works.
Scarf related, just so you know. Jeff Rutter. I will be getting Jeff Rutter the new fragrance from Calvin Klein, Vindication. So we mentioned this yesterday. Jeff tweeted...
Not cologne, though. Just a fragrance?
Yeah, fragrance.
Right, cool.
Jeff tweeted in early October that he had sources in Nashville saying that the city's MLS bid was going to be successful. Mm-hmm. That hasn't officially been announced, but at time of recording... 5:02.
It might have been officially announced.
It might have been officially announced because there was on MLS Soccer's front page today. There was announcement in Nashville, expansion related, coming today, and we pretty much know what that was.
I'm pretty sure we never want to see a situation in which the people responsible for MLS PR are also handling State Department documents or anything like that. Because if we're preparing for war against somebody and they're like, come tomorrow for an announcement about something involving that country. It's going to kind of give it away a little bit there, MLS PR.
So just a word on this. Jeff said he had sources. He couldn't reveal them because they were unnamed sources. But he was confident that they seemed to think that they had got the bid.
Right.
He kind of caused a Twitter fire and people were sort of saying he was a bad journalist and things like that.
Yeah, I mean
he was right.
That was the extreme of it. But Alexi Lalas came out and said, I have sources within Major League Soccer. They have completely denied this. This is not true.
Yeah.
Not to criticize Alexi Lalas necessarily, but just to say that he had big personalities saying, no, that's definitely not true. Mm-hmm. Definitely seems to be true.
So the slight grey area, I think this is the bit where we get serious. Mm-hmm. Santa gets serious sometimes, right? The slight.
He gives
otherwise, how would stuff get done?
Actually, I think then he becomes Krampus, but that's fine. We can have Krampus segment.
The slight grey area is, I'm sure that the documents hadn't officially been signed and Nashville wasn't officially an MLS expansion city at that point. But I also believe that Jeff would not have reported it unless there was basically a nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Yeah, you guys have got it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's if I'm handing you a pen and then the report is Taylor gives Daryl a pen. You haven't necessarily accepted the pen.
Close.
So it's lies. But so, yes, I think Jeff Roder probably had some good sources there.
But the point of this is not just to give Jeff a new fragrance, but the underlying story to this is, and to me this kind of goes hand in hand with the Save the Crew stuff, that... It really means that MLS had basically already told one of the bidding cities, yeah, you've already got it.
Yeah.
Which means there are a bunch of bidding cities out there working frantically on their bids when someone somewhere knows that they're probably not going to get it.
Yeah.
Right?
I think there's...
Somewhere on the deciding side of things knows they're probably not going to get it.
Yeah, I think so. And I think we're also seeing...
That's a problem. If it's not a fair and open thing where everyone genuinely has a chance and they don't actually make the decision until December, then it's not a fair process.
Well, I mean, yeah, I definitely agree with that. But I think the other issue for me is how you're seeing things change a little bit, because my assumption would be, I guess if they wanted to do announcement parties in both cities, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But it seems strange to me that suddenly they're pushing back the decision on the next city until the year.
I don't understand
and then we're starting to see stories come out about how Sacramento's owner might not have as deep as pockets as we like, and you're starting to see, I feel like...
Oh, we should buy him a Christmas present.
Yeah, there you go.
Pants
Just give more money. Yeah,
no,
nice.
I meant pants with deep pockets.
I gotcha. But it does feel like maybe we're starting to see a little bit of leaking on the part of Major League Soccer to sort of cushion that blow for when it gets delivered in the form of Cincinnati getting an expansion franchise. Does it count if I report that and then it happens? It's not at all obvious that it's going to happen.
I would say maybe the more generous version of this is then that Nashville was kind of told, yeah, don't worry, you guys have got it, in October at least, which is when Jeff reported it. But the decision on the second expansion franchise genuinely wasn't pre-decided. So there's other bidding cities. I'm trying to be generous to MLS here. There's other bidding cities all did have a chance, but they were all just bidding for the one remaining spot as opposed for the two open spots.
I mean, that would be an ideal, the ideal scenario of the current situation. But, I mean, it's also equally believable that the other city has also already been told. and it's just sort of stringing people along because you want it to seem like a competitive process.
Oh, there'll be a great book about this one day.
Yeah, I'd say so. Or, an okay book, I'd say. As good of a book about like MLS expansion and corporate greed can be. Yeah.
All right, well, since we're on this topic,
Sure.
do you mind if I give a second gift?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm actually going to give a gift to Anthony Precourt. It will be a one-way ticket to the city of Austin, Texas. First class, primo tickets.
Yeah.
Right? But with some very, very fine print that you need 7 magnifying glasses to read. And the fine print would say, by accepting this ticket, you agree to leave Columbus Crew behind and let someone else take over the team, and you agree that no one likes you. Also, #save the crew, haha, we beat you. And by accepting
You're
the
going to fill
ticket,
that in there in like really small print?
really small print. And by accepting the ticket, that's sort of a legally binding contract in my mind. I mean, he kind of basically had small print in when he bought the team, right?
I believe you've roughly recreated the plot to The Santa Claus, starring Tim Allen. I think that is the clause that when you take the business card, there's the fine print in there that you have to actually be Santa.
Right?
I believe so.
Did Santa trick Tim Allen?
Oh, yeah. There's a great honest trailer about how he's tricked into being like a morbidly obese man who terrifies his coworkers.
An honest trailer about a movie about Santa.
Yep. It's great.
All right, I just gave 2 gifts in a row. I'm not sure how happy Precourt would be with that gift.
Probably not very.
But #save the crew.
Yeah. So I'm going to say I want to give Neymar a consistent narrative on why he moved to PSG. Because given like...
So you write up the talking points
Which
for
is
him,
whatever
like,
day it is. Like it's either like it's maybe some people think it's a stepping stone to Madrid because obviously it would be very difficult to go straight from Barcelona to Real Madrid, but maybe you get PSG in there.
Yeah.
PSG maybe have to sell some players. Suddenly he ends up at Madrid. There's that narrative.
But you would have him out there saying that.
Well, no, I'm just saying a consistent one. It doesn't really matter which one. I just
see.
want like the one narrative so we don't see him be like, well, like sometimes you want to be the big man. Sometimes I want like a fresh start. Sometimes I really like living in Paris. Sometimes the money is an attractive thing. Like we've heard lots of different explanations.
Things can be 10 things.
They can, except that when like 250 million or whatever it is on the line, I feel like the money is kind of a large factor there.
Things can be 200+ million things.
Yeah, when they're Neymar's bank account, specifically his offshore bank accounts too.
What I would give Neymar is a Ballon d'Or, and then we can just be like, all right, now you've got one. Can we just get back to soccer?
I know what you mean, but for a second, I thought you just meant like a fake one. Like you just like now you have one. Are we good?
That's kind of what I meant.
Right.
I'm hoping it would trick him.
All right.
Any more on Neymar?
That's it for Neymar.
I'm going to get Christian Pulisic.
Oh, no, I take that back. I did also
right.
have, I would give him a copy of Triple X, The Return of Xander Cage, because he is in that movie, which is shocking. Yeah.
Wait, who's the star of Triple X?
Vin Diesel.
Okay. How is Neymar in that movie? As himself, or...?
Yes, I believe he is playing himself. I have not seen the movie. I listened to the How Did This Get Made episode about it. The theory being that Vin Diesel has learned from the Fast and Furious franchise that if you have a crew composed of people from around the world, then it tends to do very well in the global box office. So I think he just had the idea of like put Neymar in there, put the Hound, the actor who plays the Hound, is in there. I'm sure he's got like some sort of like acrobat person from China that's involved, so he can kind of tap that market, and then it does really well on a global scale.
Brilliant.
But I feel like Neymar might have forgotten he's in that film, so he just needs a copy to make sure he remembers.
He gets a lot done.
Yeah.
I'm going to give a gift to Christian Pulisic. I'm going to get him World Cup tickets because he deserves to go.
Oh, I've got a gift for Pulisic as well.
What's that?
I want to give him a framed still from Good Will Hunting of Robin Williams saying over and over and over again, "It's not your fault. It's not your fault, Daryl. It's not your fault." I don't know if the image could end up hugging him. I'm not sure if we have that technology. But I do want him to kind of remember because it is going to maybe not get lost in the shuffle necessarily, but I feel like it will be sort of like he is part of that team that failed to qualify.
Yeah.
And I think we would maybe agree that he was not the issue with that squad.
No. Okay, but since we're talking about this, because we're also, this is kind of doubling as our review of the year, right? Our gift to looking back at 2017. Sometimes I forget what year it is. I read a great thing by Adam Bells in the Scuffed newsletter about how like one of the problems with the US team when you look back at the year was that so much fell on Christian Pulisic's shoulders. And talented as he is, he's always maybe at his best when he's part of a team unit as opposed to give the ball to Christian and let him try and do it. Like, and the result is like in the second half of the game against Trinidad, 2-0 down, giving the ball to Pulisic and see what he can do, got us 1 goal. Didn't get us 2 or 3 goals.
It's true.
Yeah.
But isn't that the nature of like the beast when it comes to having one marquee name?
Yeah.
Like you think about, bad example because it's not the same position, but the one that comes most readily to mind is like Didier Drogba. Like when you have that player who is the one that everybody knows, who the opposition knows, who the opposition fans know, it becomes like a natural tendency to play the ball through that player to make sure that player has the ball.
I'll bet he receives the ball a lot for Phoenix.
Yes, I think so. But I guess that's my point though, is that like it is Christian Pulisic who's probably the most high-profile player in that squad. and the most creative and technical player as well, isn't it natural that he's going to see so much of the ball?
Yes, I mean, it is, but maybe that's not the best thing to do, is what I'm saying.
But is there a way to not do that? Like, just to be like, okay, we can only pass to him every other pass?
But maybe sort of when you are setting up the team, let's say when Klinsmann set up the team against Mexico and he put Pulisic at the middle of it. And
you mean when Klinsmann, like, put out a random grouping of people?
Yeah, but he put it, yes. He put it out in the 3-5-2, and like he said afterwards that the reason I did that was to get Christian Pulisic in that central attacking midfielder role. Not because 3 at the back was well suited to play in Mexico. Not because I want 3 central midfielders. Not because I think wing-backs is the way to go in this game. Like, the first decision was let's get Pulisic central, and then everything else cascades backwards from there, right? And then maybe also Bruce Arena's 4-1-3-2 was also designed to get Christian Pulisic in the middle and not on the wing. So maybe like the mistake was always starting with where do we put Christian Pulisic, and then you put all the other jigsaw pieces together after that. Maybe just you put the pieces together how they best fit, not how they best fit Christian Pulisic.
Yeah, I think that's the thing.
Still getting more cup tickets.
Because the implication of like it being a jigsaw puzzle is that even if you put him there first, it all ends up in the right spot. And maybe this is more of like you're shoving the square peg into the round hole and then like forcing the other ones in as a result to be like, well, it's got to go somewhere, and it maybe doesn't necessarily work out in the end. Also, this seemed like a really good idea when we first came up with it.
What's that?
But now this whole show idea, but now the more we talk about the Trinidad game and the failure to qualify, the sadder I get.
Yeah, okay, so I haven't got any more, I don't think, about USA failing to qualify. So we don't want to have a sad Christmas, right?
Nor do I.
A blue Christmas? Yeah. Elvis Presley?
Yeah.
Okay, what else you got? What else are you giving Santa
I've done
Taylor?
5, you've done 6, correct? Should we take a break to hear what our listeners had to say?
No, you've said it. All right. Today's show is sponsored by Roughneck Scarves, long-time sponsors of the Total Soccer Show. We love Roughneck Scarves. And what we do is we ask a question on Twitter about if people would give a custom-made scarf, which you can do at Roughneck, to a player. Who would you give it to, and what would you give them? What would be on it is, I believe, the way it was phrased.
We have some curated answers here. Dan Landau.
Can I just say we had a lot of really, really good answers, and we picked the maximum we can fit on the show. There were some great answers out there.
I think we had some great answers because whoever wrote that tweet did a very good job of making it clear and to the point.
He was very modest.
He didn't tag it. Dan Landau says, I would give Jonathan Gonzalez a scarf with an American flag on one side and the USSF crest on the other. You know why.
I would say I agree with that, but I would also say
I genuinely want to give him that.
I hope you don't need to. I hope he's already decided. Yeah? All
I'd be okay with that.
Fingers crossed. Steve Jacobson says his scarf would have US men's national team always sober 10th of October on one side. I forgot that we did that. And on the other side it would say, hashtag play your kids in Qatar. How about that? So looking back and looking forward.
Yes. Still sad. Grey Hair Gaming, I'd give it to Pulisic. On one side it says, I'm sorry, and the other is a list. Yeah, and the other is a list of all the people at the U.S. Soccer Federation who are at fault for the USMNT debacle. Ooh. Lots of faces going on that one.
More fine print, I guess.
More on that later as well.
Grey Hair Gaming says...
I just read that.
Oh, excuse me. Lucas Muller says, I'd give a scarf to the 5 U20 USA World Cup players who are now in the Real Salt Lake first team because everyone knows Christmas is best when you are a kid. One side would be Herrera, Glad, Acosta, Lennon and Saucedo in Santa hats. The other a nativity, I guess in a nativity scene, with them standing around Petke in the manger. So wait, Mike Petke is the baby Jesus in the manger?
He is.
Okay.
While we're on that topic, Connor Siegel scouting report about Brooks Lennon, the 20-year-old American right winger for Real Salt Lake.
Is he?
Not on loan. Real Salt Lake fans are getting an early gift this holiday season with news breaking that homegrown talent Brooks Lennon is returning to RSL on a permanent basis after a successful loan from Liverpool last season.
Brooks back.
Better yet, James Pearce with the Liverpool Echo.
Like Pogback.
Oh, I got you. Back. Doesn't quite work. Broback. And Ivan Skolarsep at Goal.com are reporting that Liverpool have agreed to let him move on a free transfer, which is another big win for RSL. For USMNT fans who are concerned about that move, it basically appears that the reason for the free transfer and permanent return has more to do with securing a work permit than on-field success or lack thereof. RSL seem to be stockpiling young American talent and might very well be, dare I say, the new FC Dallas.
Ooh.
So that seems like it ties in well with Lucas Muller.
Okay, yeah, so RSL team to watch next year. I'm really happy with that news. I think it's better for him to play another season in MLS at least, rather than like keep being a Liverpool reserve.
Yeah, I think
Fair?
so.
Okay.
I would say so.
Well,
Kenton Staller says, I would give Bayern a scarf with Jupp Heynckes contract extension on one side, and the other would just be a new leg for Manuel Neuer.
Manuel Neuer is injured, is that why?
I'm going to assume so.
Or has some sort of injury?
Or just Kenton really doesn't like one of his legs.
Might be a personal thing. So don't we think they're going to go after Nagelsmann instead?
Yes.
Yeah?
I'm guessing so, since
right.
Jupp Heynckes is back for a second stint after retiring, I think.
Yep. Okay.
As you do.
Next up, we got two more. Regalia Days says, I would get Newcastle United a Cleveland Brown scarf with a picture of my heart.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of both, and I almost can't tell them apart. Or my heart can't, because it's broken.
That is tough.
Ooh.
And that is also, like, if you were to ask me what is the American sports equivalent of Newcastle, it's Cleveland. Because it's like they have this long, proud history, but not so much recently. They tend to shoot themselves in the foot, make strange personnel decisions, make strange front office decisions, but have a very passionate, loyal fan base who tend to have their shirts off in weather when they shouldn't. It all really fits. I hadn't really thought about this before.
All right, final one for Roughneck Scarves from our listeners. Eric Carefreeman says, let's give one to Ederson, mostly just to protect the poor guy's throat and face. I'm sorry I stumbled over that line, Eric. That's a good joke.
It was a good joke. So thank you to everybody who sent in those submissions. Thank you to Roughneck Scarves, the official scarf provider of the U.S. national team, Major League Soccer, USL, and the NCAA.
You're forgetting one.
And the Total Soccer Show.
Bingo.
The Hello and Welcome scarf. Thank you for that. I always panic when you put me on the spot with that one.
And where could people get 20% off a Roughneck Scarf?
At roughneckscarves.com. That's RUFFNECK scarves.com. 20% off using the promo code Total Soccer Show. All one word. All uppercase.
And it will be in the show notes in case you forget
There
it.
we are.
Thank you to Roughneck Scarves for sponsoring today's show and all the other shows over the past year or more.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Agreed.
All right, should we get back to giving some
Sure.
gifts? Would you like me to go or you?
I'll go.
Okay.
I want to give Wayne Rooney Mark Zuckerberg-esque business cards that just read in your face. Because, he had, in the social network, he had the expletive-laden business card. I feel like Wayne Rooney needs those too, and he can just go around England, the broader soccer community, this studio, to one bearded gentleman.
Yeah, not to
hand
me.
them out. Nope.
I always believed.
You did.
I always believed.
Now, maybe it's like he's riding the current, high, because he did struggle a little bit in the beginning, but that might have been because...
No, he started off really well the first 3 games or so. Then there was
Then when Ronald Koeman decided to employ the risky strategy of just number 10s everywhere, we'll see how this goes.
Honestly, it was when Gylfi Sigurdsson arrived, is when Rooney's sort of form dipped, along with all of Everton's form. And not because Gylfi's a bad player, but I think there was just an overload of similar players. It's one of the many problems.
Now, the question remains, how is Wayne Rooney going to backtrack from international retirement? That's my question.
Slowly but quietly.
Do you think that? Or do you think he's like, no, you misunderstood. I said I'm going to retire.
My guess is there may be some approach from Gareth. There either be approach from Gareth Southgate around March, April, if he thinks it's a good idea, or there'll be a rumour that there is, but there actually won't be. It'll be a story either way, right? If Rooney keeps scoring.
And then it will be the inevitable story of when if England get knocked out of the World Cup, Wayne Rooney went to the World Cup and blank didn't get to go, this young 21-year-old striker who's only played 5 minutes, but we're still going to make a stink about it because it's Wayne Rooney. I feel like that's the inevitable way this goes.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
That'd be the one. What you got?
Okay. I've got one for Jurgen Klopp. For Jurgen Klopp, I'm going to get a Blu-ray of the 1964 musical fantasy Mary Poppins. Do you know why?
Because a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down?
No, to warn him that you can't always rely on Van Dijk. You're welcome.
That was good. That was a good one.
I would also get him a Netflix subscription because he needs to view some new Defenders.
That's solid work, I think. But it also makes me feel like you were just browsing Netflix last night while writing these jokes. And you're not denying that. Speaking of Jurgen Klopp, I want to give every Premier League manager an excuse generator. Have you ever played Catchphrase before, where you hit the button and it gives you the word that you're not allowed to say?
I love Catchphrase.
So I want to create...
It's my favorite game.
I feel like I've come up with a genius invention here. This could genuinely be a good idea. Not really. But it's basically you hit the button and it just gives you your ready-made excuse. So when you're asked, why didn't your team have it today? Hit the button. It's referee got decisions wrong. Or other team cheated. Other manager's a jerk. You have them ready to go.
Other team played too defensive.
There you go. Oh, that's definitely one. But these are specifically going to Jurgen Klopp. And I feel like that one just gets stuck on the referee made mistakes. And then Jose Mourinho and Arsene Wenger as well. They also get these, the first edition.
All right, since we're doing coaches, I've got another one for Pep Guardiola. I would get Pep some very sweaty socks to remind him what defeat smells like.
Is that it? Is that all you got for this
That's
one?
it. I've got some follow-up, which is, one, thank you for your laughter. 2, I kind of genuinely mean it. They're on this great run, right? And it could get to a quarter-final or semi-final against, say, Barcelona, or a team that's really dangerous, and he could do something that's sort of, or he probably will do something that's like as aggressive and expansive and sort of confident as he has in the past. And especially if he's on a run of never being beaten, then it will all sort of collapse in that moment. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he'll do the Guardiola thing, but then like Messi and Iniesta will pass their way through it.
That makes sense to me. What I think we need...
Sweaty socks for Pep.
I want to focus on how you create these puns. Because I'm curious, because you are very good, quote unquote, at creating puns. I could have just done the air quote since we actually have a camera this time. But, so really, do you start with defeat? Like, I want to make a defeat pun and go from there?
I honestly don't know.
It just comes
I don't know how it works.
That's just your mutant ability?
It's best not to look at it, yeah. What you got?
I want to give all of the remaining 8 U.S. Soccer Federation presidential candidates.
Yes.
There are 8 now. I want to give them each a copy of Barbara Walter, not that one, political science professor at UC San Diego.
Oh, all right.
This is a deep one. I want to give them a copy of her paper entitled Why Africa's Rebels Become Dictators. And the main idea is that like people think it's because Africa lacks strong leaders, but in reality, that's ignoring the 2 structural features that are driving this bad behavior in Africa's countries: rich resources and weak political institutions. In unrestrained environments, Daryl, where wealth is there for the taking and one's time in office is uncertain, the incentives to plunder are often too strong to resist.
Wow.
All of that seems sort of like, oh no, we're getting rid of the old guy. He didn't do a very good job. But in comes the new one who sort of is like, oh, that's really hard to deal with. Oh, promotion and relegation is a whole minefield. Let's just stick with things as they are.
Let's just Mugabe this.
Let's play another Mexico friendly in the Alamo Dome. Why not? And then you go from there.
Oh dear.
Let's hope it doesn't go that way.
All right, that's deep.
Yes.
That's deep. Never mind. I'm going to move
or
on.
long.
Yeah. I'm going to move on to Josh Sargent, and this is not a joke one. I want to get Josh Sargent a German phrase book because the sooner he settles in, the better. We want to get him feeling comfortable and happy at Werder Bremen.
Is he there yet, or is he not 18 yet?
I think the answer is yes to both.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He's probably hanging around there.
Okay. He is there, but he's not 18, so he's not actually playing. I got real confused for a moment.
He might be home for Christmas.
Yeah. And from what we had in yesterday's scouting reports, I think it sounds like maybe Werder Bremen are trying to establish that American pipeline because they want to get their own
Trevor Zwietzlut.
Shock America? Something like that? Whatever we landed on.
We'll have to come up with one for Werder at some point, right? Don't try now.
I mean, I'm not going to because clearly you have the gift when it comes to portmanteaus and puns and whatnot. My third last one goes to Chelsea, and I'm just going to give them the rest of Leicester's title-winning team because it seems like they've already gone that route. They've got N'Golo Kante, they've got Danny Drinkwater. Why not just kind of augment your squad with a few more of the talent remaining there.
So help yourself to a Vardy and a Mahrez.
Yeah. But then I think if we're going to continue the kind of gift-giving theme, they can just re-gift some of the players they don't want to Manchester United.
Like
because that seems... Yeah, exactly. But they've done that with Juan Mata. They've done it with Nemanja Matic. So it can just be a weird re-gifting circle.
Didn't Drinkwater start out at Man United?
That could be.
This would be like a big circular re-gifting.
Eventually he gets there. Yeah, it's perfect. Why not? It's the Tony Pulis cycle that we've established already.
All right, I've got a gift for Eden Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne.
All right.
I'm going to get both of them.
Is it a wet towel? Because I already did that.
All-expenses paid trip to Bora Bora, French Polynesia. Because, they've been in sort of cold, windy England for a while.
Your puns have genuinely put me in a position where now I'm just like, what am I preparing for? I'm tracking every word you're saying. French Polynesia. Go.
So Bora Bora, French Polynesia, it's described as a vast South Pacific island, dreamlike, with a dormant volcano at its heart, covered by thick jungle, surrounded by an emerald necklace of tiny, sand-fringed islands that form a turquoise lagoon, hiding rich coral reefs and thousands of colourful fish, right?
Yeah.
How could you say no to this all-expenses paid trip after a long, hard season? And the date they'd be there is around June 28th.
The reason we're doing here now.
The reason that's good is that it is
way too long.
Bora Bora is 9,758 miles from Kaliningrad Stadium, where Belgium will be playing England.
That's so good.
Bon voyage, Eden and Kevin.
I really was so hyper-focused on tracking like every word to wait for the pun that it took me way longer than it should have to see where that was going. Well done, Daryl. Well done.
What else you got in your gift bag?
For Bayern Munich, I want to get them a framed print, either of Keep Calm and Bayern On, because I feel like that's just kind of the way it goes. Like, no matter what, you might start off the season poorly, you're going to end up winning. Don't worry about it. Or a deeper cut would be...
Keep calm and buy a Dortmund player.
Yeah, that too. No, that's the end of it. It's Keep Calm and Bayern On, ... Or buy a Dortmund player. Yeah, that's how it works. Dortmund striker, ideally. Or if you want to go deeper cut, a photo of Keith Hernandez, and it just says, "I'm Keith Hernandez," from the Seinfeld episode.
Oh,
where
yeah.
That's how he reassures himself that he's like, I'm famous enough. I can do this. And again, I think that's what Bayern needs to be reminded of sometimes. It's like, hey, you're Bayern Munich. Go score 8 goals. And then they do.
Go coast the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
Even with the managerial change at the start of the season because things were going so badly.
Yep. Yeah. Even like we were watching the DFB Pokal earlier as a gesture to the TV.
Did we get to 90 minutes on that? I don't think we saw the end.
It felt like writing was on the wall there.
Okay.
He says, as I'm sure we're going to turn on to see, it was like 3-2 Dortmund. But even then, like Ribéry and Heinkes got into sort of a playful argument, and like there's still tension there for sure. And yet they're still 11 points clear at the top of the table.
I'm going to get any Aluko a Virginia flag.
Okay.
Because sic temper tyrannus. Thus always to tyrants is the slogan on there. Because she defeated a mighty but too proud British institution this year.
Background?
On any? Okay, so most people will know the story, but I'll happily repeat it. So she was essentially, racially abused and kind of pushed aside and bullied a little bit by the people on the women's England team. Then the FA basically tried to cover it up. Right? They had an investigation that basically investigated how they did nothing wrong. Yeah. But it ended up before a parliamentary meeting, which essentially found in favour of Eni Aluko that they owed her the other £40,000, £40,000, and essentially forced the FA to apologise. So they tried to bully her. They tried to sort of force her to be quiet. They tried to silence her. She stared them in the face. They forgot she's an actual lawyer. She's a sports lawyer. She stared them down and she won. She got her money, she got an apology, and she kind of humbled the FA.
I feel like they had no idea that was the case, that she was a lawyer. Do you know, forgive me for putting you on the spot, do you know, has that brought about any change? Like,
not that I know of, no formal
still there and everything?
Yeah. No, Mark Sampson's definitely gone.
Okay.
Yeah. I couldn't name the new manager, unfortunately.
That's good. So it seems like maybe then she'll get like the financial compensation, but then not be like cast off into the wilderness. I mean, she'll be brought back in.
She essentially won.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. I like that one.
Yeah. So a Virginia flag.
That's a good one. That's a good one. How many more do you have? Because I think I only have 1 left.
I have 3 left.
All right. Keep going then.
Okay, I would get Josie Altidore and Michael Bradley.
I think we've already covered them with the Fatwa disguise.
I've got some good gifts for them, though. Because they're 2017 MLS Cup winners, but not 2018 World Cup qualifiers, they essentially got the very much second best gift. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to get them all the Starfights merchandise.
Okay.
It's like Star Wars, but it's definitely not as good. It's very much off-brand knockoff, not as good. Kind of like how World Cup is Star Wars.
Is that a thing?
No.
I
made it up.
Well, see, I got excited because are you familiar with Turkish Star Wars, which is my favorite thing ever? So I think it's like a 70s film. You can find it on, I'm sure it's on YouTube.
I saw this trailer. Yes.
It's basically they wanted to film like a sci-fi opera, sort of a la Star Wars, but they didn't have the budget, so they literally just steal shots from Star Wars and then make them fit to what they're trying to do in the plot, but it's very loose and it doesn't quite work, and it's horribly dubbed, I believe, and the action is terrible. So that's what you want to get them then? Turkish Star Wars?
Well, I'm going to get them specific merchandise, right? Because I'm guessing kids will be getting Star Wars merchandise this year. Well, Altidore and Bradley will be getting the Starfights lightsaber, the Starfights Death Star, which doesn't make any noise, the Attaboy Walkers, and the Year 2000 Big Bird ship.
I feel like you just started writing these and we're excited to keep going.
Officially licensed Starfights merchandise.
All right. What else you got?
For Andrew Carlton, I'd get him a proper old-fashioned watch because he needs the minutes. For former Italy coach Gianpiero Ventura, I would get him a set of artist... I'm laughing at my own joke.
You already got your... Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
I would get Gianpiero Ventura a set of artist pencils, pastels, and charcoals, and a silver medal. And I'd say it's from Daniele De Rossi because he wants to draw, he doesn't want to win.
For those who don't get that one, that's when the camera caught Daniele De Rossi being furious that he was being subbed on when Italy needed a goal. And I think the translation, or maybe they caught the audio because he seemed to be screaming, was like, we don't need to draw, why are you putting me on? No. I do love that NBA players have started doing that, by the way.
Yes. Yeah.
It's good. I didn't realize that ESPN had started employing lip readers a la the Spanish media, but apparently they have, so here we are.
Soccer rules the world.
My final one, Daryl, is for you.
Oh, yes.
I want to get Daryl Grove.
I didn't get you anything.
Couldn't really think. I didn't want to go dolls, so I've gone bobbleheads. I want to get Daryl bobbleheads of Josh Sargent, Tyler Adams, Christian Eriksen, and Will Trapp, because I want you to have the physical objects when you get super excited about those players and discuss their hype train. Maybe it's just like Thomas the tank engine. There we go. Like with those individual.
Wait, the thing you couldn't remember about Thomas is what he was.
Couldn't remember if he was an engine. Thomas the
the train guy. You've been looking at the off-brand one. It's next to Starfights. There's the Thomas the train thingy.
It's Tony the locomotive. Yeah. But I want you to have, so I want like the face of each of those players on a Thomas the Tank Engine. Yeah. So that way when you talk about their hype train, you have a physical representation of it, because you get very excited about them. And I want you to be able to just look at it and
this is what a bad gift receiver I am. I'd open them all up and I'd go, you didn't get me the Weston McKennie one?
Mostly that was self-preservation. I'm not willing to give you the credit for being on that hype train early. All those other individuals, you were on there early and promoting them vocally. So yeah, Will Trapp, Christian Eriksen, Tyler Adams, Josh Sargent.
Oh, thank you. I genuinely didn't get you anything.
That's fair.
I apologize.
That's fair and expected.
All right, that was
your presence is a present, Daryl.
That was our Soccer Santa. Mm-hmm. I guess that we've just come up with that name.
Yep.
We are going to move on to the Total Soccer Show Scouting Network.
We are indeed.
Before we read reports that have been sent in, we did have a back and forth with Taylor Williams via email, who scouted Matthew Olasunde, who essentially was a little concerned that he hadn't heard anything about Olasunde. Mm-hmm. And we found out between us that this is an American right back at Man United. He was playing for their U23s in Premier League 2. He's been injured since around mid-September, but he's on the way back, and he's a player worth getting excited about. A 19-year-old, I think, American at Manchester United in their U23s.
So then the question remains, though, why do you think it's difficult to find information about him? Do you have recommendations for what people can do if they don't seem to be getting Google? Or
so because we it's our fault, right? We push Google alerts early as the way to find info about your players.
You get that train too. You get the Google alerts train because you're on that one.
But I do think that maybe there's not enough information comes to a Google alert. So especially if your player is playing for a Premier League 2/U23 team, go to the official club website, look up their reserve /U23 team, look at the results, see if they're there, right? Go to PremierLeague.com website, look up the Premier League 2 league table and the results. You can find those games and see if your player played. If you go to YouTube and search for your team U23s, there will be highlights. So you'll be able to watch these players they're not hitting the headlines, but the Premier League is such a machine that even Premier League 2, it doesn't make the newspapers, doesn't make the Google alerts, but there always is footage and there always are match reports.
So hopefully that will help people out there who are maybe having trouble getting information on some of the scoutees, rather. Maybe they get to find more info.
And thank you to Taylor Williams for kind of highlighting that fact for us, that maybe people didn't know that. And so, it's good to get that information out there. Also, everyone get excited about Olasunde.
Indeed. Yeah. And thank you to the other 5 individuals who did send in reports. We've already read Connor Siegel's, I believe it was, about Brooks Lennon. I'm not sure I gave credit there the first time, so Connor, thank you for that. We also have one from Alan Bedford, scouting Jonathan Lewis, the 20-year-old American attacker for NYCFC. Lewis got very limited minutes in the playoffs for NYCFC, and it's been suggested that both he and Kwame Awa, oh boy, that's a difficult one, NYCFC's other first-round draft pick would benefit with some regular appearances in the USL, except that NYCFC does not have a USL affiliate, so Lewis will continue to ride the bench, it appears.
Maybe Man City could be their affiliate?
Yeah,
I'm
sure they'd love that.
Grey Hair Gaming, who was featured in the Roughneck Scarves segment, is scouting Indiana Vasilev, the 16-year-old American midfielder, on trial at Aston Villa in the good old West Midlands. Grey Hair Gaming says, America's next, or maybe only, Bulgarian-American star played 60 minutes for Villa's U18s in their FA Youth Cup third-round game versus Coventry City. West versus East Midlands. Mr. Gaming says he believes that Indiana is on trial at Villa, but he's also not sure if trialists can play in FA Cup fixtures. Regardless, Vasilev played as an inverted right winger in a 4-2-3-1 and looked sharp on the ball, closed down well, had dangerous pace, and was Villa's designated free kick taker. The bad news is that he came off in the 60th with an injury, and there hasn't been any news about the severity of the situation.
So I'm sure we'll get more updates from Grey Hair on that one. I'm sorry, I gave him Mr. Gaming before.
It's more respectful.
Yes, and I know that you have the Midlands bias there. How bad is Coventry? Just generally speaking.
To visit?
Yeah.
Okay, here's how bad Coventry is to visit. I once went to a comedy show, Dave Gorman, who I don't think has a profile here, but he's brilliant, right? At the University of Warwick. The University of Warwick is in Coventry.
Okay.
And one of his jokes was, you know the city's not great when the university that's in the city names itself something else. Warwick is a nearby other city. The University of Warwick chooses that.
We're good. We'll be here. We'll take the taxi card, but now we're fine. I asked that because...
The real answer is I haven't spent that much time there, so I can't say either way. It was bombed heavily during the war, put it that way.
Okay, that might explain this one. Because do you ever have that thing where like certain jokes, like you'll read them once and you find them so funny on first reading that they just like stick with you, or when you hear them they stick with you?
Yeah, these ones.
Yeah, there you go. There was one from like Football Weekly many years ago. Oh no, it wasn't. It was the rumor mill that they send out every day. And I think it was like
I've been reading that thing since I want to say 1998.
Yeah, the Fiver, right? Yeah. I think the line was, he might sign for Coventry, a city that puts the words concrete and nightmare into the phrase concrete nightmare. That has always stuck with me. So anytime Coventry comes up, I'm reminded of that one.
Actually, that's what happened. It was kind of leveled during the war because it's heavily bombed.
It makes it less funny now.
Yeah, right. Because it was like heavy, what's the word? Artillery or, military stuff production was there. So the
military stuff production is the technical term.
So the Germans bombed it heavily. And then it was rebuilt in the 50s/60s where everything was made of concrete.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's why it has that aesthetic.
It's durable. It's durable.
Yeah.
It's like the
brutalist, I believe, is the architectural phrase.
Indeed. Yeah. I think there's like some fortifications in like Albania or something like that were built around the same time that are all poured concrete that like cannot be destroyed.
Yes. I saw this on Facebook. There was a list of like a long photo list of all those things.
And in case you're wondering, viewers and listeners at home, I felt like we hadn't had enough random tangents in this one, so I'm glad I took us down this road.
This is one of those moments when we forget we're doing a podcast and we just start chatting.
Maybe I did.
What else is happening in the scouting network?
Elijah Chappell scouting Joe Willock, 18-year-old English midfielder for Arsenal. Joe got his first start for Arsenal against West Ham in the Carabao Cup. He looked calm on the ball, didn't rush his decisions when put under pressure, and had 92% pass accuracy.
So I don't normally put much stock in pass accuracy, but that's when it's defenders. A midfielder, 92% is pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah?
I was trying to work out like the fraction percentage there, and I gave up because math is hard.
All right, Connor Siegel we've already covered, right? Brooks Lennon. Zach Rose is scouting Ronaldo Vieira, 19-year-old English central midfielder for Leeds United, who I got very excited about when I signed, because how good is that of a name for a soccer player? I mean, Ronaldo Vieira.
He's got to be named after original Ronaldo, right?
I don't know.
But I mean, it would if he's 19, it's 2017. I believe that would correspond with 1998, which would be true. Like when he was like the full airport ad, all that good stuff. I feel like that's probably named after him.
But imagine having that combo of skills. I'm not assuming that Ronaldo Vieira has the skills of both, but you have the sort of pace and goal scoring ability of Ronaldo.
I didn't even notice Vieira.
And the defensive midfieldering of Vieira.
I didn't even notice that part.
That's a complete player right there.
If his middle name is like Baggio, then we know. Then we know things.
His middle name is Manuel Neuer. Zach says... Zach says, after a breakthrough 2016-17 campaign, Ronaldo Vieira was relegated to the bench in the early part of the season in favour of more experienced midfielders by new manager Thomas Christiansen. However, Ronaldo seems to have become a vital part of Leeds' midfield trio over the past few weeks. Most recently, Ronaldo started and went the full 90 for Leeds in their 1-0 win over Norwich. That was last Saturday. Ronaldo struggled to connect some passes, but had a solid defensive game otherwise, just like a Vieira. He did, however, get a yellow card for a very aggressive tackle, just like a Vieira, a problem that seems to have plagued him in his young career.
Yeah. He's really taking his double namesakes to heart. I like it. I like it a lot.
He has a lot to live up to, right?
He does indeed. Yeah. So, thank you to Taylor for checking in.
Yes.
Thank you to Alan Greyhair. Mr. Gaming is what we went with?
Yes,
Elijah, Connor, and Zach for those scouting reports.
Very much appreciated. If you would like to support the Total Soccer Show, you can buy a Roughneck scarf, or you can go to totalsoccershow.com/join, sign up to support us, and we will assign you a young player to scout. I will also be doing some more assignments over the next few days. If you are desperate to get your player, because maybe we've been a little slow sending it to you, then one, apologies. There's just a lot going on. 2, send an email to me, Daryl, Daryl, at totalsoccershow.com. Put itchy feet in the subject line. Let me know, and I will make sure to send you your player as soon as possible.
Indeed. A bit more housekeeping before we call time on this one. This is going to be the last show, we think, for at least like the next week or so.
Yeah.
Unless anything crazy.
House closing more than housekeeping.
There we go. Yeah. That's good work. And like, unless anything particularly crazy happens that necessitates an emergency podcast.
Yeah, so I'm going to Dearborn, Michigan for the holidays, where I'm going to eat all the hummus.
There you go.
And we just can take a little time off for the holidays. Coming up, there's Copa MX with Monterrey and Pachuca. I believe it's December 21st. So unless I've got my dates wrong, that's tomorrow. And then the 23rd. It's the Clásico. It's Real Madrid, Barcelona. Normally we would do a preview and a review.
The El Clásico.
The El Clásico is December 23rd.
Proper American.
So yeah, we're probably saying we're not going to offer a review of it because we'll be on vacation, right? A vacation, you've really got to turn things off, unless it's a classic El Clásico.
The general pattern is we promise we're going to do a show about a major game because everybody's going to want to hear about it, and then that finishes like 0-0 and like none of the important players
negative
play.
-2 each.
Yeah, exactly. But when we say we're not going to do a show, then it's 5-4.
Yeah. So we've reverse jinxed the Clásico.
But then I think by acknowledging the reverse jinx, we've jinxed the reverse jinx, and now it's a whole thing.
We're in uncharted territory.
We're back to math, and I can't handle that.
All right, first Facebook Live. I'm going to call a success unless we go to the comments and we find out there's been some horrible problem. I guess we'll find out in a few minutes.
But we will be back before the new year. I think we're going to do sort of our New Year's resolutions for the players around the world, for the global football community.
There we go.
In the description, yes.
The GFC.
And then we'll be back to like regular schedule, probably January 2nd, I believe is our current plan.
And we'll start thinking about the 2018 World Cup. We'll be in the year of the 2018 World Cup when we come back in January.
Hooray.
Hooray.
I can't wait for January camp with head coach Dave Sarachan in charge.
I mean...
Exactly. You tried so hard.
I'll find some optimism by the time we do that end of year show.
Yes.
I'll find it somewhere.
Sure.
I'll look high and low. All right. Well then, Taylor,
I feel like booze is going to be involved in that one.
Taylor Rockwell, thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
Right back at you, buddy.
Listeners, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, for those who did. And we will be back after the holidays. Alexa, end the broadcast.